CARICOM heads of government have renewed their commitment to strengthen regional integration governance mechanisms.
They have agreed to continue actions to propel growth in the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, the CSME, to adopt an all-of-society approach to tackling crime and to promote a new regime for roaming rates.
Welcome to this special edition of the CARICOM NewsTime on the outcomes of the 31st Intersessional CARICOM Heads of Government Summit. The meeting was held in St. Michael, Barbados on the 18th and 19th of February. I am Tosankin English Francis.
And I am Michelle Nurse. Thanks for joining us.
Mindful of the need to address issues of implementation in the community, heads of government have agreed to take stock of the actions undertaken since the 2003 Rose Hall Declaration. The declaration was adopted at the 24th meeting of the conference in Montego Bay, Jamaica. It outlined specific measures to fulfill the aims, objectives, and undertakings of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas.
We are firm of the view that we need to enhance our governance mechanisms, and to that extent, we've asked Prime Minister Gonzalez to be able to pull on technical working groups that were hitherto presented to heads of government and that may bear revisiting again because of the need for us to guarantee implementation across all of the member states.
Prime Minister Mayor Motley, the chair of CARICOM, anticipates that the report of that review will be ready for the July Heads of Government Summit.
The heads of government have agreed to simplify administrative arrangements to enhance the efficiency of the free movement regime of the CSME. Prime Minister of Dominica, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, who holds responsibility for free movement in the CARICOM Quasi-Cabinet, will lead that charge. As they pursue the inclusion of the private sector and labor in the CSME, the heads of government reviewed two comprehensive reports that assessed and provided recommendations on food security, renewable energy, air and maritime transport, and information and communication technology.
The report that came sets out a pathway towards our being able to work towards substituting 25% of our food import bill, which at the current moment stands at about $5 billion US, that we would look to cut out 25% of that within the next 5 years. What was heartening is that they had a clear plan across livestock and crops, 7 key areas that would save the region $420 odd million US, but also would have the potential to be able to earn foreign exchange outside of the region. Now, this will require action on the part of private investors at all levels, but it would also require further action on the part of governments and the community to make it more seamless for that kind of production integration to take place from Guyana and Suriname in the south to Jamaica in the north, from Belize in the west to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean islands in the east.
The Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM has agreed to enable the CARICOM Development Fund to raise additional money from a wider range of options in order to carry out its mandate. The CDF was established under Article 158 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas to address disparities in countries, sectors, and regions which may result from the implementation of the CSME. The heads have acknowledged that even though member states are committed to recapitalizing the fund, they have also acknowledged that it would not be enough in the face of a number of challenges. Executive Director of the CDF explains the range of options the fund is exploring for recapitalization.
We know the traditional donors. We know Europe, we know Canada, we know UK, maybe to a lesser extent now USA. We have been talking to individual European countries that have, for example, Finland. We had, in a way, we had them targeted as a non-traditional donor. Luxembourg. We were successful in getting financing from some of these under our first cycle. We are at the stage now where we are going to approach some of them as well for replenishment, for part of the replenishment, and maybe into the third cycle. But also looking at, say, China, UAE, and we've had discussions. We've done a partnership with the UAE, for example, on a particular project. And in terms of non-traditional methods of raising finance as well, is to consider floating a bond, a growth and resilience bond. So as we try to keep up with the realities, fiscal challenges facing the countries, this is an option that we have to look at.
As member states seek to diversify their economies and build the financial services sector, the arbitrary imposition of tax governance and money laundering rules continues to be a sticking point. CARICOM Heads of Government at their 31st intersessional meeting reiterated the call for an inter-governmental tax governance body to deal with this issue. Justine Dunkley Malcolm followed this discussion and filed this story.
In his remarks at the opening of the meeting, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Alan Chasney, reported that in light of the threat to financial institutions of losing critical relationships with banks in the United States, the matter was taken to Washington by a delegation led by Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister, the Honorable Gaston Brown, following a meeting that was held in St. Lucia.
I can report that we have moved the needle on de-risking and that the OECS is working on a single compliance department. We were able to draw the attention of the members of the Financial Services Committee of the United States Congress and senior representatives of major U.S. banks, including the Bank of America, to the catastrophic effect which the stringent measures being imposed on domestic banks by correspondent banks in the United States and the negative impact which the withdrawal of such services was having on economies in the Caribbean member states.
Prime Minister Chasney also reported that another CARICOM delegation interfaced with the European Union on the troubling issue of blacklisting. He stated that member states of the community continued to take the necessary steps to comply with the demands of the regulating agencies. But while they do, countries in the region were still being penalized. According to him, some countries remained on a grey list, while one member state still remained on the blacklist. At the end of meeting press conference, CARICOM Chair Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados said that the heads had agreed to consider legal recourse to the matter that impinges on fiscal sovereignty of member states.
The issue of crime and security received significant attention in the CARICOM Heads of Government caucus discussions at the 31st Intersessional Summit in Barbados. Ms. Valderine Hackett of the Communications Unit filed this story.
A multidisciplinary summit on security is scheduled for April this year. This announcement was made by Chair of the Caribbean Community, the Honorable Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, when she addressed the press at the close of the 31st Intersessional Meeting of Heads of Government on 19th February in Barbados. The Prime Minister conveyed her fellow heads deep concern about the continuing high rates of crime and violence in the community and shared their decision to convene a summit which would bring together a wide cross-section of disciplines and partnerships to address this issue.
You cannot solve this problem purely through law enforcement, and that we recognize that the source of the problem is a broader societal problem that requires a societal solution, of which the government is only but one of the players. And we're talking about not just how do you solve murders, we're really talking about how do you resolve violence and conflict within our families, within our communities, within our countries.
Heads of government have agreed to address the matter of crime and violence as a public health issue. They have agreed also that enhanced security would include measures to assist in minimizing the risk of importation of the COVID-19 virus. Lead head for security in the CARICOM quasi-cabinet, Honorable Keith Rowley, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, has agreed to host the summit scheduled for early April.
CARICOM heads of government have endorsed the regional health emergency strategy led by the Caribbean Public Health Agency to prevent the importation of the novel coronavirus to the region. They commended the support of other regional and international organizations, including the Pan American Health Organization.
We dealt also with health. Members, states were updated, and we thank them very much for their updates. CARFA, who has been really on the front line of the fight against COVID-19. We are happy but not arrogant that we have been able to contain and to manage our affairs such that there has been no outbreak, no single case of COVID-19 within the community. We pray that our efforts and our actions will continue to allow us to be able to say that. But we are conscious that we continue to have to be eternally vigilant with respect to this matter in order to be able to ensure that we provide the best possible protection to our populations.
Heads of government expressed sympathy and support to the government of China as it continues to contain the virus at ground zero of the epidemic. They thanked the Chinese government for ensuring the safety and well-being of CARICOM nationals in China and for their offer of support to boost the capacity of the region to respond to the threat of the COVID-19. The conference mandated the CARICOM Secretariat in collaboration with CARFA to explore the offer from China. CARICOM heads of government also addressed wider health issues and were particularly concerned about the escalation of incidents of heart attacks in the region.
We also took a report from the CARICOM Caribbean Cardiac Society, and in this report we were updated to some facts which we have been discussing here in Barbados as well, that the mortality rate for what they call myocardial infarctions, MIs, in the Caribbean is significantly higher than it is in the developed world. And the figures quoted were in the vicinity of 36-37% as compared to 7-8% in the developed world. And the point was made that we are probably doing more on prevention within the region than there are in the developed world, but more people may have a chance of surviving a heart attack in the developed world than here because of the additional steps that we need to take. As a result of that presentation, heads of government mandated that we would wish to build the capacity to address the incidence of heart disease, both in terms of continued prevention as well as in preparation to be able to increase the chances of survival of a person presenting themselves at a hospital within the region. And to that extent, we've mandated the Secretariat, CARFA, and the Caribbean Cardiac Society to produce a draft regional strategy aimed at identifying this and other critical public goods, regional public goods, essential for operating the strategy so that we can reduce the mortality rate.
Community nationals can now anticipate affordable roaming charges as they move across the CARICOM single market and economy. The Conference of Heads of Government has asked Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell to engage telecommunication companies in discussions to chart the way forward on a new regime for roaming rates.
We will await the final implementation of the regime as well as the other areas of digital governance for which Prime Minister Mitchell has responsibility.
Agreements and instruments of ratification were signed at the 31st CARICOM intersessional meeting as members reaffirmed their commitment to regional integration governance mechanisms. The community also signed a memorandum of understanding with the government of the United Arab Emirates for the establishment of a consultation and cooperation mechanism. You can view the full list of agreements in the communique issued at the conclusion of the meeting on the CARICOM news site or the CARICOM website.
CARICOM heads of government have agreed to mount a fact-finding mission to Haiti. Briefing the media on that decision, Dominica's Prime Minister, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, said even though the situation in Haiti is complex and there are a number of views on the way forward, it cannot continue without the intervention of the Caribbean community.
We've agreed to dispatch a team of senior officials led by the Secretary General, Ambassador Larocque, to visit Haiti and to meet with all relevant stakeholders so that we can find some kind of, first of all, to know exactly what's happening on the ground, engaging stakeholders, but also seeking to devise a strategy of how CARICOM can assist Haiti in resolving this issue. Because it is felt that if we do not help address the domestic issue confronting Haiti, we will continue to have tremendous negative impacts on countries like the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas, who are seeing a large number of migrants coming in to these countries and creating some domestic challenges for them. So we need to work with Haiti, we need to work with the various stakeholders in Haiti to find some kind of lasting solution.
CARICOM and Canada have discussed the strengthening of relations between the two parties. CARICOM heads of government welcomed the Foreign Minister of Canada to the 31st Intersessional Summit. The Canadian Foreign Minister set out an agenda for strengthening ties between his country and CARICOM. Heads of government expressed their appreciation for the assistance Canada has extended to the community in various fields. They also interacted with Commonwealth Secretary General Baroness Patricia Scotland. They expressed their gratitude for the range of activities undertaken by the Commonwealth Secretariat to the benefit of small island and low-lying coastal developing states, SIDS. Heads of government expressed their overwhelming support for the renewal of Baroness Scotland's term of office. Prime Minister Mia Mottley also announced that a CARICOM Africa Union Summit will be held mid-year in Africa.
Much more on the Intersessional CARICOM Heads of Government Summit on the CARICOM news site at today.caricom.org and the CARICOM website at caricom.org.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time.